It's time for Talking Campus, our weekly discussion forum with members of the College Fix editorial team. Today I'm joined by College Fix editor Jennifer Kabbany for a conversation about the rise of fake hate crimes on college campuses. Jennifer, it seems that almost all of these high-profile campus hate crimes turn out to be hoaxes perpetrated by students seeking attention for their political causes. How do you explain the rise in such hoaxes?
Well, I think what's going on here is when a hoax gets perpetrated on campus, unfortunately, administrators completely admit culpability. It's our fault. This is a racist campus. We're oppressive. Let us implement these programs. Let us hire more faculty of color. Let us give you all this money. They're rewarded. So why not do it? Because there's no consequences.
Yeah, across the board, there is no consequences. In looking at all of these fake hate crimes that have been documented by the College Fix, among other places, the one trend that they all have in common is that the community declines to punish the student at this time. It's not in the best interest of our campus to punish these hoaxers. And yet, these are really serious accusations. And every now and then, they do accuse kids until these are proven fake. They do come down hard on a fraternity, or they'll come down hard on a particular individual or a particular teacher. And there's no apology even when this is said and done. And you're right. Why not do them if this is what you can get away with and advance your political cause?
Yeah. And unfortunately, then every time I read a new story of a supposed hate crime, I kind of cringe because I'm like, is this going to turn out to be a hoax? You know, because they so often do. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've documented dozens and dozens of cases, and it becomes the situation of the boy who cried wolf. So now we don't know, is this real or it's false? So often it's false, and it does harm to those real hate crimes that do deserve to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I think that has to be really reiterated, that what you're doing is you're making it much, much harder, at least off campus. I mean, you just, I think, wonderfully pointed out that on campus it doesn't matter. The fake hate crime actually furthers a campus agenda, right? Because even if the hate crime turns out to be fake, all these revisions are put in place, all of these changes are granted, concessions made. But off campus, as people are watching, as donors are watching, as moms and dads who thinking about sending their kids to their colleges are watching, they recognize that this is a very dangerous precedent that makes it harder for actual hate crimes to be taken seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I tend to see two kinds of hate crimes. The one is perpetrated by a student of color. They're just trying to prove a point. They want to advance their agenda, unfortunately doing it the wrong way. But then the other is they just see racism in every corner. We had a situation back in Vanderbilt where a blind student was walking their dog and they couldn't find a trash can, and they left their, you know, bag of poop on the doorstep. Unfortunately, it was the Black Cultural Center's doorstep, but it wasn't malicious. Like I said, it was a blind student. But when they found the dog poop, they immediately thought racism. Or the time they found what they thought was a noose at the University of Delaware, it just turned out to be some old decorations from hanging lanterns. So, you know, both of those we see a lot, and both of them are unfortunate. And I think we should investigate what's going on before we jump to conclusions, because by and large, students, they don't want to be racist. They want to be loving and accepting of everybody. And so, unfortunately, we got to take this seriously. And administrators have got to stop jumping to conclusions right away and say, let's get all the facts before we decide what we're dealing with here.
Well, and I've taught at 7 different universities over my career, and I think the university faculty are much more culpable and responsible for this than the students are. Like you said, there are a variety of reasons: attention-seeking, praise from professors. Even when these kids make up hoaxes, their own professors won't condemn them for it. And so I think the university faculty has a big, big price to pay for all of this, because they're creating a circumstance where we see racism behind every corner. We refuse to acknowledge on college campuses that we have more or less obliterated hate crimes on campus. I mentioned in a previous segment that the very invention of microaggressions is a compensation for the fact that there aren't enough macroaggressions to justify all of these identity studies programs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're just digging in deeper and deeper with their progressive agenda. The professors, you know, they encourage students, you know, tell them there's racism everywhere. And then when the students don't see it, they create it on their own. It's a very bad recipe.
Right. And, you know, I don't know what the answer to this is, because, again, there is no institutional pressure on the inside to change this from within. The school administrators would rather jump the gun and blame white culture, white supremacy, racism, because there's no consequence for doing that. And very often, if these administrators take their time investigating this and refuse to comment, then the pressures double doubled down by progressive elements on campus, calling them unresponsive. We saw the University of Missouri system president have to resign because he didn't investigate as quickly as the campus agitators would have liked.
Yeah. Ultimately, we do need to start holding campus presidents more accountable, boards of directors and trustees. We got to say, hey, if we put the pressure on the top dog, on where the buck stops, then maybe that'll trickle down. I think that's the only way we're going to change this particular issue because, the professors have a vested interest in these campus hate crimes. Seeing them get their agenda passed because inevitably it's more money for multicultural programs. It's more money directed toward affirmative action programs. It helps support and grow their social progressive causes. And unfortunately, that's built on a lie. Most often we're finding with all of these cases.
Jennifer Kabbany, editor of The College Fix. Thanks so much for your time today.